So I heard rumors through the grapevine that people are binge watching my channel, meaning they're going all the way through all my videos and watching all the animal adventures. And I have to warn you right now that if you binge watch my channel, you may end up with a bunch of snakes, maybe a bunch of cows, and even some ducks. So I'm just warning you right now. And today I'm actually going to go through some ball python hatchlings. And if you watched me before, we kind of cut some eggs and we set some up in hatchling racks. And so I'll show you what I have here. So people always ask me, how many snakes do you have? I have a lot of snakes. So these are all my hatchlings. I actually had 75 when we added 3, 75, 76, 77, 78 hatchlings we have in here, including all these. Go over here in this rack. And I think that brings the total, actually I think we have 5 here, and that'll bring my total number of snakes to like 123 in this room. That's a lot of snakes. And I'm bringing 60 of them to the show in less than 2 weeks. So I never know how many snakes I have. I get all the numbers jumbled up because, you know, it depends on the day, it depends what's hatching, it depends what's selling. So I have a lot of snakes. It's kind of the same way with my cows. People ask me, well, how many cows do you have? Well, I had one more today because I had a calf born. So, so anyway, this is kind of my setup here. I'm kind of going through. I have everything set up. So if you watch one of my last videos, I had problems with one of these moss balls. I had a Arizona mountain king snake kind of burrow through the center and get stuck, and it really messed them up. So I made some more. I don't think my ball python hatchlings will have a problem with it. I'm going to use it for the short term, but I'm going to switch to something else for the netting part. But basically, I just use this sphagnum moss. It comes in a big block, and then I put it in this netting. I'm going to change the netting. This has really wide holes, and I'll change to something else. So I have some balls for the sphagnum moss, and we'll set them up in these tubs. So basically, this is an ARS 1065 rack, perfect for hatchlings. It has a little water dish built in, and I have plenty of empty spaces. I actually have 2 more clutches in the incubator, and I'm going to get some albino het pieds and albino pieds out of that. I'm really excited about my last 2 clutches. And it's weird, I was kind of looking on the internet, and we're kind of late in the breeding season. This is kind of the end, and we're wrapping it up. And I saw some other people with albinos and albino combos late in the season, so I don't know if albinos are just kind of stubborn and a late breeder, or if it's kind of across the board, or if it just happens to be both of us. You know, I start pairing them up at the same time all the other snakes at the beginning of the year, so I just thought that was interesting. So here are the 2 boxes that I just pulled out of the incubator, and let me go ahead and set this up on a tripod, and we'll take a look at them. Okay, so this is the box that I used to incubate my snakes, and this was actually normal crossed with the bamboo, and so we should get either normals or bamboos. And let's see what we have. Ooh, wow, very nice, very nice. I always like to see more bamboos. And so this, we just had 1 egg left out of what we had. So the other ones were basically all out of the egg, all except this one. So I think in the other box we have 4 more that we can look at. But this one is this one's definitely in shed. You can see it's a little bit faded out, and the eyes are a little bit kind of gray, kind of grayed out. But these bamboos are just really, really amazing snakes. Even getting ready to shed here, it's really still a really stunning snake. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to probe this one and see if it's a male or female. And basically what I do is I just take a little probe and I stick it up in the tail pocket of the snake, right up in here. And so for my egg box, basically what I do is I use this vermiculite, and I weigh it out. I basically use 200 grams of vermiculite and 200 grams of water, and then just kind of mix it around. And when you first mix it, it seems like it's dry, but you can even see here that after 60 days, probably almost 70 days in the incubator, that it still has enough moisture to clump. And it should clump, but you shouldn't get any moisture out of it. And then I just use this, it's like a Glad press and seal that I use to cover it up and just seal the top and put the cover on. And I don't put any holes at all in the sides or anything. So let's check out, I'll show you how I determine if this is a male or a female. So I had one of my viewers post a comment on one of my videos, and they said, "Do you ever get tired of hatching snakes?" I said, absolutely not. This is, I think, by far, this is the most exciting part of the hobby. Hatching out new snakes and seeing new life come into existence. And then, especially with ball pythons, playing the odds and seeing what the odds bring you. Sometimes you can get all bamboos, sometimes it's all normals, or, sometimes it's totally unexpected as far as what you would expect. The odds are 50-50 when you have a breeding, bamboo to normal. So it's always kind of interesting how statistics play a role in the natural progression of things. So here what I use is a probe kit, and I got it on Amazon. And basically I just use the smallest little probe. And then I use this, you can use any kind of lubricant, really. I just use this, it's like a personal lubricating jelly, and I just put a little bit on the end. And this is always the tricky part. Sometimes when I first started, sometimes this would take me like 5 minutes. But I've gotten better as I've done almost 100 snakes now. So basically what you do, and it almost works best to hold the tail with 2 fingers like this, and you just very gently put it up into this tail pocket. And the males actually have hemipenes, which are basically up in these pockets. And since they have the hemipenes in there, the probe goes way, way, way in. So on this one, you can see it's only that far, so this is definitely a female. And if it's a male, it goes at least twice as far as that other one. So it's a very nice female bamboo. And if I could get some meals into her, this probably won't be at the first 2 shows, but I'll probably sell it at the last show. Let me show you how I set up the hatchling tubs in the rack. Okay, so this rack and these tubs are made by ARS, which I think is the best. And they have these built-in deli cup holders that hold, I think it's 8 ounces of water. And then, let's see, so I actually kind of made a mistake this time when I got my paper towels, and I got full sheets. So what I'm going to do, some of my tubs, what I've done before is you fold a sheet in half, and it seems like it works, but the problem is the snake goes between the layers. And then you go to feed the snake, then the snake's not out, so it almost works better with the Selecticize, or if you kind of make a mistake like I did, just to kind of cut them in half. And I'm actually going to do, so it'll be 4 layers, kind of alternating back and forth. And if the snake kind of gets underneath, I usually try to put them back on top. And then what I do is I'll just fill up the deli cup with water, just enough so it doesn't spill when I move it around. And then I put in a moss ball, and that's pretty much it. Okay, then the next thing I do is I print a label, and it's basically just a label maker, and then I put it on this magnetic tape, and here it is. So it is actually 18 for 2018, C12 for my 12th clutch, F for female, and this is just a straight bamboo. And then I'll put it right on the tub, and she is already cruising around. So let's take a look at the second box. Alright guys, so it is officially Christmas in August. Let's see what the stork brought us. Wow! Interesting, interesting. Let me get all these eggshells out. It looks like they all came out. So last time, so in this clutch, actually, I'm pretty sure I had the numbers wrong last time when I was talking about it. So the odds were 50-50, either normal or bamboo, and we got exactly 50-50. We got 4 bamboos and 4 normals. So we already set up the other normal and the other bamboos. And these guys are spry. So another thing that's really interesting to notice, that the female was a normal, and it was a really, really dark normal. And if you take a look at these normals, they are super dark. It's almost like the background palette. I like to call it a canvas for doing kind of morphs through ball pythons, but you can see it really carried over to all these. It's not like sometimes you would think that the really dark normal would be kind of a codominant gene where half would be really dark and half wouldn't. But it actually carries through to all the babies, which is really kind of interesting. And another thing I noticed on the last time we cut these open is that when you mix the dark normal background with the bamboo, it doesn't really affect it. So if you were to take one of these bamboos and you bred it to something else and you got some normals, I can almost guarantee that the normals are going to be a lot darker. Another thing that would really be interesting is to take one of these dark normals and breed it to a light normal and see what you get. See if it's 50-50 or see if it's kind of a blend halfway between the dark and the light. That would be a really interesting thing to do, just kind of out of curiosity, I think. So let's start with the bamboo and let's figure out if it's a male or a female. Alright guys, so this is definitely a female, and it's kind of a little bit tricky because on this female it barely went in at all. I had to probe like several times just to be sure, and on the last one it went in a little bit further, but on a male you can tell it goes way in. So even between the females it can really be variable, and you start scratching your head on some of these thinking, is it a male or a female, or and if you haven't probed a lot it can be a little confusing. But if you've done a lot of snakes with that probe, it is by far, you can tell the male is really easy once you hit the males, because it goes way in where the hemipenes are up in the tail. But this is a really good looking snake. Look, the bellies are pretty clear, and this one has a lot of pattern on the side. It is really a beautiful one of the probably, I think this is probably the most pattern I've ever seen on the side of a bamboo. Normally they don't have that much pattern. You can almost see like little alien heads in there, like almost kind of like with a normal. But that's a good looking snake there. So basically I set this one up exactly the same way, with the paper towels, the sphagnum moss and the netting, and then the water. And I don't really number my snakes, so this is basically has the same label as the other snake. So as long as I know what year they were born, what clutch they came from, I don't do female bamboo number 1 from clutch 12. I basically just kind of roll them all together, so I know the year and the clutch, and basically the date the eggs were laid and the date that they hatched. But I don't get specific down to I suppose I could name each one of them. I have to come up with 80 names 80 plus names for all my hatchlings. But yeah, I don't really number them. I just kind of keep track of the basic info. Alright, so I'm going to take a look at this normal, and before I started this I didn't have a whole lot of normals, but now I have a lot more normals. So if you're looking for a pet at the show, something really inexpensive, I'll have quite a few normals actually. So take a look at this. So when this guy starts running like this, it is really, really hard to try to probe. And sometimes you just kind of have to let them run for a little bit before you get them to kind of chill out a little bit. But even these normals, I think they look really, really beautiful. They're kind of underrated, I think. But let me see. I don't know if I can do this on camera. I might have to finish off camera because it might drive you crazy and kind of watch me. Well, I'll try it. Let's see. Sometimes it takes several minutes, especially with a snake that's running like this. And it almost seems like some of them are kind of more ticklish down in this area, which is kind of interesting. And here you can definitely tell the snake's kind of tense right here, so you really can't trust your probe until the snake really relaxes. But once you get it in, once it relaxes, see, this one's still pretty tense. This one is not going in at all. There we go. So now it's going in, and you can kind of see. Well, it's going in even more. Yeah. I would say this one's a female. It's only going in that far. If it's a male, it usually goes in like that far. So I would say this is a female normal. Alright, so I probed the next one, and it is another female normal. And these normals, I think they're really good looking snakes. These are really, really dark normals. Alright, so here's the last one, and believe it or not, it's another female. So I guess that's pretty good odds. So probably the best thing you could get for a normal is a female, because it can be used as a future breeder. If you get a male normal, it's kind of a hard sell unless it's just a pet. Unless you get someone with, wanting maybe one snake to kind of prove out some of their multi-gene females. But so pretty good odds as far as the females and the genders, I think. So I'm going to go ahead and set this one up. Okay, so I just did a quick count of all my hatchlings, and believe it or not, I have 83. That's pretty good. And I actually had 12 clutches this year. So I kind of figured it out on the calculator. We have almost an average of 7 eggs per clutch. It comes out to like 6.9 eggs per clutch if you do the average. And I think I only had 2 slugs, or maybe 3 the whole season. So I was pretty fortunate there. I really stayed on top of keeping the males rotating constantly through the whole breeding season. So I think that really helped out. So kind of the next thing coming up, September 7th and September 14th are when my very last eggs are going to hatch. I have 2 snakes that may or may not lay this year, maybe really late. I don't know. It looked like they had big follicles when I did an ultrasound, but I'm not sure. Sometimes they can absorb those follicles, and right now it doesn't look so good. They're looking pretty thin. So I'm thinking I just have 2 more clutches in the incubator. And I looked back at the number of eggs. I just kind of did a quick peek in there, and it looks like I have 11 more eggs. So that's really exciting. Kind of to end the season with a bang with some albinos and albino pieds. So I'm really looking forward to that. So thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.